No way. Camera's actually recording? RexFinance is back. I know it's crazy. I apologize for being away the last month or so. I was away helping out the family farm finish up the harvest season, which went very, very well. I know. I'm a jack of all trades, highly skilled individual. I'm not just RexFinance, I'm also Mr. Rex Farmer. At the end of this video, I've included a clip or two from our harvest season. Yes, before you ask, my dad does make another appearance. He's gonna steal all my thunder. He practically already has, but you guys have been highly requesting to see him again. So you'll see him at the end of this video if you want to see him, but man... we have an update video to make today because there's a lot of people panicking in the stock market, and newsflash, I'm not panicking, okay? You know, since my last video, the NASDAQ it's red. It's very red. And when I left you last, I made a comment several times throughout several videos that my one main concern for the stock market throughout the rest of 2023 was Treasury yields going up, and sure enough, same thing. Since I last left you, Treasury yields have absolutely skyrocketed. Get out of here, honey. I know you're trying to save me money and all. And naturally, when Treasury yields go up, the stock market goes down, and the stock market has been more red than my shirt, practically. But fortunately for us, this morning, the 10-year Treasury finally caught a bid. People finally got interested when this Treasury yield hit 5%, risk-free money. People finally started buying this, and throughout today, the Treasury yields all kind of cooled off a little bit, which helped the NASDAQ actually finish the day green. I know, it's kind of crazy, right? But man, do I have a video to show you, okay? This is how I know we're just super, super close to the bottom of the stock market. Keep in mind this video is uploaded on YouTube and has 100,000 views and over 1,000 likes. And that doesn't even consider the audience that was watching this live on CNBC on their television. But this is the type of junk that is on CNBC right now. I mean, just watch this.
Now, this chart is really off scale. Remember, when you're doing these charts, you got to use logarithmic paper. This is just a rough gauge. But there's your near 16%, 781 for your anniversary date. And the whole point of this chart is that we have a lot of potential room to run to the upside.
Okay, I got to pause this. Rick Santelli, I generally like this guy, but he's literally drawing a picture and saying because yields were this high 30, 40 years ago, it means that yields have so much more room to go up, which means the stock market's going to tank, and this just gets even better. He'll keep drawing this picture, and yeah.
So if somebody asked me and held a gun to my head and said, listen, the worst case scenario, where Treasury rate's going to go 10-year, I'd say in the next 7 years, you should be able to see 13.5%, 14%. Yes. Now,
13.5%? Are you serious? Yes. Because of this picture I drew here, you can see there's a lot of space over here, which means that we're going to go higher with Treasury yields, which means the stock market's going to fall over the next 7 years. Boy, I wish the stock market was that easy because we'd all be trillionaires. We really would. I mean, I can't just turn around and say, because there's a bull on this poster back here, the stock market's going to go up. That's how it works, right? Because over time, the stock market just goes up, which means this is going to go up. 100,000 views, over 1,000 likes, and many of the comments in the comment section are praising this individual and this piece of artwork. Are you kidding me? That is like... we no longer have to seek the light. It's hitting us right in our head, right in our eyeballs. The bottom is in. When stuff like this starts popping up on CNBC and YouTube, we know that the bottom is in. It's very similar to 2020 and 2021 when the CNBC guy was asked about the company called Upstart, and he was asked, what does this company do? I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I can't hear you. Why don't we just run that clip?
Very powerful, very strong earnings. These stocks are acting.
What do they do?
Really
I don't even know them. What do they do?
Excuse me?
What does Upstart do?
Well, I'm sorry.
What kind of company is it?
Yeah, I'm not. You're breaking up.
I mean, if that was no tell of the top, I don't know what was. But I mean, it sounds silly, but we can literally look at things like this and get a great gauge of how the markets are feeling right now and say, things are about to tip the other way because this is getting a little bit extreme. And you might ask, but Rex, what is making you bullish? Everything is so bearish right now. We have war in the Middle East. We've always had war in the Middle East. I'm sorry. Yes, I recognize that there's an increased possibility that China will make a move on Taiwan while the US's resources are spread thin between Ukraine and Israel. I understand that, but it doesn't matter. Typically, whenever we enter a war or there's increased geopolitical tensions, the stock market will see a slight sell-off before a sense of nationalism influences investors. America, go America. I'm going to put my money into the stock market and the U.S. economy because I love the United States of America. I believe that we have the best economy in the world, and I believe we will see this through. That is what happens 99% of the time. But let's just say that these geopolitical tensions really are making you nervous. What else am I looking at that's making me bullish? And there's really three things, and I'll break down each of these things in today's video. First of all, the Fed rate hike cycle is over. I have evidence of it, and I will show you it. Secondly, our economy is growing extremely fast. Our economy is extremely strong right now. I have evidence of that, and I will show you that. Third of all, inflation is done. Inflation has disappeared. In fact, we're seeing deflation in a lot of categories right now. I have evidence of that, and I will show you that. So instead of fear-mongering, I will show you factual data that is shaping my argument. Now, in saying this, I'm not a financial advisor. These are my own thoughts and opinions. You need to come up with your own thoughts and opinions because I'm not responsible for you making money or losing money. Unfortunately, although people do it, you can't point the finger at the guy on your iPhone screen and say, well, he told me this and he got it wrong, so it's his fault that I've lost money. That's not how it works, and if you play the blame game for your whole life, you're not going to get anywhere. I have warned you. I could be wrong about this, but I remain very bullish today. On the screen now is proof that the Fed's current rate hiking cycle is over. For the November meeting, the markets right now are pricing in a 98.4% chance that rates will stay the same, that they will not go up. For December, there is a 74.5% chance that rates will stay the same. They will not go up. For the January Fed meeting, there's a 64.6% chance right now that rates will stay the same. They won't go up anymore. For the March meeting, there's a 58.9% chance that rates will stay the same. And in fact, now is the point in March of 2024 where the markets are actually partially pricing in a rate cut. The Fed always follows the market. But Rex, the economy is growing too strong. The Fed has to raise rates to slow down this economy to finally put the sealed end to inflation. Yes, you're right. The GDP for Q3 is projected to grow at 5.4%. We get this official number this week. 5.4% annualized growth in our economy in Q3. 5.4% GDP growth is incredible for the size of our economy. Yes, our economy remains very, very strong. But did we not just cover the 10-year Treasury yield? Yeah, the 10-year Treasury yield has skyrocketed. So the 10-year Treasury yield has done a lot of the work for the Fed. The Fed does not have to manually raise rates when the Treasury yields have already done so. But Rex, headline CPI ticked up the last 2 months. It's at 3.7%. Yeah, you're right. It did pick up over the last 2 months. But you know what Jerome Powell, the man in charge, said? Roll the clip.
But food and energy prices are influenced by global factors that remain volatile and can provide a misleading signal of where inflation is headed. And in my remaining comments, I will focus on core PCE inflation, which omits the food and energy components.
He said that food and energy are very misleading when trying to see the overall trend with inflation. So he's saying ignore the headline CPI rate. So 3.7%, yeah, it's ticked up over the last 2 months, but the man in charge says it doesn't matter. Furthermore, let's talk about shelter. CPI excluding shelter, so taking the shelter component out of it, headline CPI excluding shelter is sitting at 2.0%. 2.0%. Core CPI excluding shelter is sitting at 2.0%. What's the Fed's overall goal? It's 2.0% annualized inflation. So excluding the shelter component, we have already hit the Fed's 2% goal, which gives credence to my belief and the market's belief that the Fed is done raising interest rates. But Rex, you can't just take out a component of the CPI and say that's why you believe that the markets are going to go up. Well, yeah, I can. Let's roll this clip of Jerome Powell.
Because leases turn over slowly, it takes time for a decline in market rent growth to work its way into the overall inflation measure. The market rent slowdown has only recently begun to show through to that measure. The slowing growth in rents for new leases over roughly the past year can be thought of as in the pipeline and will affect measured housing services inflation over the coming year.
He just explained to you why we can take the shelter component out of CPI. Rent turnover happens very, very slowly. He even mentions later on in his speech that market rents, so more up-to-date figures of rent, have shown rents and shelter cooling off, coming down much more dramatically than we've seen hit the CPI data so far. This is in the pipeline. He says this. This is disinflation that's waiting to happen. That is in the pipeline. Disinflation of shelter, disinflation of rent has not yet hit the CPI data, but it will. And shelter accounts for 35% of the overall headline CPI. 35%. That is a huge, huge category. And it accounts for 44% of core CPI. That's an even bigger category. And if you still don't get it, it's okay. This is complicated stuff, but let me break this down for you, okay? The Fed rate hiking cycle is over. Interest rates, even the 10-year Treasury yield, is probably close to its peak. There is more downside room for Treasury yields than there is upside room for Treasury yields. More than likely, over the next 12 months, over the next 24 months, Treasury yields are going to come down. Second, the economy is incredibly strong right now, growing at over 5% in the most recent quarter. The economy is incredibly strong. I don't care how bearish you are, you can only say a strong economy is a bearish catalyst for so long. A strong economy is good for business, it's good for consumers, and therefore it is good for the stock market over the long term. Third of all, inflation is gone. Several months ago, all three of these were major concerns. Yields rising, how much longer the Fed rate hiking cycle would last, and is inflation going to be sticky or is it going away for good? Those were three big worries that the market had. And right now, the market still isn't seeing it, but if you dig into the data, all three of those worries have been crumbled up, ripped apart, and thrown in the trash can. Let me read these three things to you once more and try and tell me that this is bearish. Our economy is growing at more than 5%. The Fed rate hiking cycle is over, and inflation has disappeared. If you can listen to those three things and spin it in a bearish manner, please comment down below what I'm missing. But yeah, as I mentioned earlier, sure, geopolitical tensions, yeah, it's probably going to increase the overall volatility of the stock market, but more times than not, it doesn't really end up mattering to investment returns. I still am very bullish for the rest of 2023 and throughout 2024. Maybe my opinion on whether or not we see a recession happen has gone up by 5% as a result of the geopolitical tensions, but that's about it. That doesn't change my overall thesis. That doesn't change my bullish thesis at all. But to end this video off, I want to show you something that really makes me smile. So I have a paid monthly membership. You can join it by hitting the join button down below or hitting my Patreon link in the pinned comment. We would love to have you join. It's the best membership around. I'm biased, I know. But seriously, we have a member of Rex Nation who lives in Israel, and he opened up a school for 55 children from different villages around Gaza that have been affected by the Hamas attacks. This brings a smile to my face. And as a community, me and my paid monthly members gathered together enough financial resources to help bring a smile to these children's faces. God is always on the move, and I'm so proud of the community we've built. And you can go to my Twitter and see this post and look through these pictures, but man, I don't know why I've been blessed with the position I'm in, with such an awesome platform to help people out like this. So I want to extend you the invite if you want to be a part of this and a part of this community. We're going to continue to help out this member with his school financially. And I expect we're going to continue to do more and more of this stuff because life is so much bigger than the stock market. Making money's great, but man, there's a lot bigger things out there than the stock market. So I extend you that invite if you want to join the membership. We can give you some more details on how to get involved with this stuff. But with that, I'm going to end this video here. It's great to be back. I love you all. It's awesome. It's awesome, this platform. Can't get over it. I'll throw in those farming clips at the end here if you want to see those. Yes, my dad makes an appearance once again. Just don't let him steal all my thunder, okay? That's the only promise you have to make me. But with that, have a great rest of your day. Stay blessed. Keep 10 toes to the ground and your chin up. Peace out. Guys, long time no see. If you've been following my channel, you know that during harvest and planting season, videos slow way down because I like to come out to the family farm and help them harvest. So I'm just going to show you something quick. What's going on right now? My dad will make an appearance. I know you guys loved when he was in my previous video, but you're not going to be able to hear very well, but I'll do my best to break down what's happening. Well, behind me, you'll see a lot of cattle. We're authorized to hold like 14,000 head. Usually we're in the 7,500 range, but what's going on is we also have row crops. So we farm corn and soybeans primarily, but we'll harvest the corn, high moisture corn, and we'll bring it in and turn it into cow feed basically. And we also pay some other local farmers to do the same. That's what's going on in front of me. I'll show you that in just a second. But you can see this huge pile of feed in this bunk. Crazy. So you can see my dad right there helping trucks dump their high moisture corn. It goes through this little auger. Not much is coming through right now. So it shoots through there, up into the tractor, up into this corn grinder that's hooked up to this semi. We have a mobile unit that's much, much faster. I mean, it is spewing grinded corn out like crazy right there. Right there is a huge tractor pushing that corn pile, basically turning into what was on the other side. It's going to push this grinded corn and make another huge pile right here. So there it comes. This is what the corn looks like picked right off the cob by the combine, and this is what the grinder turns it into. And we'll actually tarp over this and let it kind of ferment before we actually put it in the cow's feed. But it's just crazy the amount of corn. Now I'm in the old farm truck. We call her Dumpy. She gets the job done, okay? But don't sell her short, all right? You see this sticker right here. Custom Deluxe Chevy. Runs forever. Listen to this baby purr. Dude.